Mr. Brock Purdy came back against the Lions down 24-7 at halftime. You can argue, Riv. I mean, you can make an argument. You know, Riv, do you think that Brock Purdy has proved that you can trust him when playing from behind?
Well, down, what was the first week? 7? Then down 10, then down 17. And, you know, it's funny because we've been glazing Mahomes for an hour. You know, we've been
legitimately.
You're talking about the Chiefs for an hour.
It was 37 minutes.
No, you started glazing them again.
Well, no, we talked about perks for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, so. Then and I find it funny because you were talking in your monologue about how sometimes you just got to be a game manager. You know, sometimes being a game manager is what the team needs.
Interesting.
And then you make a play, and that's when you win the game. I found it interesting because, you know, we're about to talk about Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy's a game manager. Nobody's denying that. But something about
you still think he's a game manager?
Yeah, I think he's a game manager. Never doubted that.
Let me ask you a question, though. Didn't you just say that that's okay?
In moments. I mean, Mahomes is more than a game manager.
But let me ask you. Now, Riv, I'm with you. There were in moments where Brock Purdy was a game manager, but then there was moments.
There was moments where Brock Purdy walked out of the game manager's shoes.
Never mentioned Mahomes and Purdy in the same sentence.
Here he goes.
Just please
stop.
Not
what I did.
That's what he did, kind of.
Listen, are you picking the 49ers to beat the Chiefs in Super Bowl?
Whoa, you got some time. You got some time, Riv. Easy.
Easy. You glazed for an hour. I don't got to sit here and answer that question. I could just talk about my brother.
Can you answer the question after?
After. I'm going to talk about my brother Brock Purdy because I saw your tweets. Your tweets were nasty.
Did they make you laugh? At least?
No, none of them made me laugh. I actually made
Drew told me they made him laugh a little bit
because you blew your load way too quickly.
Did you laugh, Dels?
I did.
You laughed?
Well, it was on brand.
It made me sick to my stomach. And you made me sick to my stomach because you thought the game was over. And it's funny because I don't know. To me, it felt like the second half should have been how the game went all game, personally. When the Niners adjusted, defensively they started to make plays, and offensively. I believe in my heart the second half was a collective group effort. Absolutely. It was Ayuk. It was Debo. It was CMC. It was Jennings. It was Brock Purdy. Like, that offense came together as a unit, and they was like, listen, we're gonna put each other in the same mode, and we're all gonna carry each other this W. And you saw that from Brock Purdy's rushing to Jennings making the one-hand catch to Debo breaking off probably -3 yards into a 10-yard game to Ayuk making play. Like, everybody on that offense made plays. CMC, of course. Even the fullback, Kyle, he made some plays. Like, that offense came together. And then defensively, you know, they made some plays for sure. And I think, you know, people are going to talk about the line. We're going to talk about the lines in a little bit, those fourth downs, and I understand that. But they had a couple drops that didn't go their way. But I think the Niners in this 2-week stretch have shown you that, you know, they've been, it's not like the Ravens all year, but they've since dominated the NFC for the most of the year.
Yeah.
And they've, you know, we pretty much gave them the leeway to go to the championship, but they down to Green Bay. They've been down to Detroit. And it doesn't matter because this team has resilience. You know, this team has a quarterback who, you know, may be a game manager, but he is a great leader. He puts confidence in his boys, and the same thing about them. They put confidence in him, and he just makes plays. I mean, you saw this man making runs. You saw this man putting his head down and going for it. You saw this man scrambling out the pocket, throwing it to Jennings. I mean, this shit is getting ridiculous. It's got to stop at some point. The hating has got, like,
I don't know, man.
Why you hate Purdy is weird to me, but at the same time, you know, this guy's a cool guy. He just does what he does, you know, and people got to put that Jimmy G shit in the garbage. People got it. He's chasing top 12 conversations at this point. He's chasing the Dax and the Goffs of the world. I thought golf was fine. You know, I thought golf was pretty good. But I think, you know, Brock Purdy's a sound quarterback for this unit. I'm glad he had his moment because this is back-to-back weeks of him having his moment. When he hasn't played good in the first half. He has not played good in either first half in either game. I would never not critique my brother, but it's all about how you finish. And this brother just continues to finish off on a great note. Shout out to Brock Purdy. And we on to next week, man.
I'm assuming you want to talk?
I definitely want to talk.
You want to lie, but I'm here for it.
Brock Purdy is my favorite subject on the show. I love it.
Because you never win it.
Every time, him and Tua, one of my two favorite subjects.
I don't know if I believe you. Well, the amount we talked about.
I love talking about Brock Purdy. And I'll tell you one thing. There's nothing more that I wanted in this world for the Lions to beat the Niners.
Of course.
There's nothing more that I wanted in this world for the Lions to continue that first half dominance and continue exposing Brock Purdy. Because, you know, you don't know how hard it's been for me for all these weeks having to not say much about Brock Purdy, not saying how I really feel about him. But then the playoffs happened. He's played awful against the Packers objectively. He did play awful.
Give him a C.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty. One drive saved him, but objectively, he was pretty awful for the entire game.
That drive is like an A++.
That's why I gave him a C at the end of the game.
Okay, some quarterbacks don't throw it across
Remember when
the field.
Zach Wilson had a good game after one drive against the Steelers? Remember that?
Take me back.
I would have given him a C back then, too.
Fire.
And then against the Lions in the first half, he wasn't the biggest reason they were down, but he was one of the main reasons they were down. He didn't play that well.
Get taller.
If I slept during this game and I just woke up and I saw the final score, I would have been like, okay, this was a close game. The Lions gave them a fight. If I had no context to how or what happened in this game happened, I'd be like, okay, I expected the Niners to win. But how the game transpired, the Niners coming back, you got to give respect to Brock Purdy for what he did. No doubt. He played great. He used his legs. I see a lot of funny comments about how he was more Lamar Jackson than Lamar was.
Wasn't me.
No, that shit was funny as hell. Greg Olsen goes, there's no mistaking Brock Purdy for Lamar Jackson. But, I mean, what he's doing with his legs here.
I seen a lot of those comments circulating online. Last 2 games for me in the playoffs has been a passable grade for me. I haven't been moved in the slightest. I still have a similar opinion. I mean, really, who have the 49ers played in the playoffs? The 7-seeded Packers who
would beat them.
Yes, and they almost did. So how about you relax
But
off that?
you're trying to minimize it, but you thought that they would lose.
The Packers were the hottest team in the league at that point, bro.
Now listen up. You beat the 7-seeded Packers, who Bryce Young threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns on with nobody on his team. What are we talking about?
But we saw the week before they shut down Dak Prescott.
Baker Mayfield had a perfect passer rating against the
shut down his
Brock Purdy.
Shut down the Cowboys.
Was awful against the Packers. Objectively, was awful.
Shut them down.
So
what was Jordan Love?
Against who?
Mind you, top 10.
Against the Niners. What was Jordan Love?
He was average.
Top 10 quarterback.
But Purdy was awful?
Oh, my God.
Objectively awful for the entire game outside
smiling.
the last drive.
Stop smiling.
Outside the last drive, Brock Purdy was awful. Am I wrong? Bro, am I wrong?
Was Jordan Love not bad?
He wasn't good. Nah, he wasn't good.
Was Jordan Love not bad, though?
But he was good in this Lions game. The second half was impressive as shit.
Jordan Love was bad.
Jordan Love was bad at the end, but that's why for the entire game, I give him a C.
You give him a C,
average.
2 picks in the C.
Listen, Purdy might have not hit it in the homework, but he aced the exam.
How many turnover-worthy plays Jordan Love had?
He had 2.
And what were they in the second half?
What are we biggest time?
Biggest moments. Mr. looking stupid. But yeah, you see. Oh my
looking
God.
stupid.
You know what?
No, he did look.
Who's better, Jordan Love or Brock Purdy?
That's a fucking funny ass question because the one who's supposed to be better did that dumb shit and turned the ball over.
So you think he's better?
Yeah, I do believe
so
Jordan Love is better.
Ultimately, what I'm saying is that
matter.
Who have if you told me coming into the playoffs, the Niners beat the Packers and then the Lions to go to the Super Bowl, would that be surprising to you?
Who in the NFC would be more impressive to beat? Maybe the Rams.
The Rams,
maybe Dallas, but after how they look against Green Bay, I don't know.
Listen, NFC's pretty weak. That's just what it is. It's not that strong of a conference.
You can't play good teams if there's no good teams.
This is what I'm trying to say. This is a Packers defense that's been vulnerable all year long. There's a reason Joe Barry just got fired. Let's just make that clear. Against the Packers, Brock Purdy had chances to get them out of the defense they were playing, and he didn't make those throws. He was awful in condensed pockets. And then you face the Lions, who 23rd ranked defense, 27th against the pass. This Lions defense is awful. Every team they've gone against has torched them. Even in the loss that the Rams had against them in the playoffs, Matthew Stafford threw for 350 plus, and was it 2 or 3 touchdowns?
That defense in the red zone was clutch.
Matthew Stafford
in the red zone. What did they do?
Nothing.
The Lions against the Lions defense against the Rams in the red zone every time.
Sure.
What did they do?
And how did that game? How did that game end?
Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp,
how did that game end? How did that game end?
The best offense when they're healthy. What did they do in the
How did that game end?
The Lions won the game.
Okay, but how
did you pick?
I picked the Rams to win.
And the Lions won.
Who did you pick? You picked the Rams.
I picked the Rams.
What happened at the end of that game, Drew? Did Puka not get interfered with? Did you think that was not a call?
I did think it was interference personally.
So that's what we're doing.
Well, I mean, we have to talk about the context.
I know, that's a reach.
It was, I don't know, that's such a
He called on me, which is fine. I had to be
on. That was strategic.
But we're talking about the Niners beat a 7-seeded team and then one of the worst defenses in the league.
But
and now supposed to be moved.
That 7-seeded team beat the 2-seed.
Joel, stop.
No. Let me finish. The fact that the Niners were in this hole against the Lions and begin with was disgusting. It made me want to spit on my mouth. They should never have been down against the Lions.
Was that about Purdy? Was that the defense?
It was also Purdy. Purdy was not good.
Talk about Fred Warren getting cooked all game.
Okay, sure. The defense wasn't good either. The defense wasn't good either.
Javon Hargrave, the dude you love so fucking much, didn't do a damn thing for most of the game. Talk about that defense that you said was so great and valuable. You say Brock Purdy's not that valuable. You love to bring up all these other names. What the fuck did they do? They were torching them in the first half. Fred Warner, best linebacker in the league, you love to say. He can do everything. He was getting manhandled out there. Barbecue chicken.
This is hilarious. This is hilarious considering that before the podcast started, we were all sharing our top 10 players in the Super Bowl. Riv did not have Brock Purdy in the 10.
As a top, he wasn't. But he still clutched up. And I said, what did I just say in my monologue?
So my value comment isn't
the most real at this table.
Drew, what did I say in my monologue? It was a collective effort on the offensive end. Did I not say that?
I think both sides. It was collective effort why they were down 24-7. And it's collective why they won.
But we are not about to blame Brock Purdy for why they were down and getting their ass whipped.
I never said blame Brock Purdy. I said he was a man. No, I didn't. I said he was a reason.
I
never said he was the main reason.
You said main.
The interception
I never
was
said main
inevitable.
reason.
Remember, the interception was inevitable. Yeah, the one that got tipped at the line.
Apparently he's too short and shit. This shit crazy.
I never said he was the main reason. I said he was one of the reasons. I mean, this Niners offense should still be able to keep up against this defense. That's an objective fact. They should have never been down in the first place.
The second half they did.
It was an incredible comeback.
They missed the field goal.
It's
the
a
second
four-quarter game.
Of course. And in the second half, Brock Purdy played better, but also the defense played much better.
Yes.
That's also an
objective
fact.
defense was dog shit in the first half.
Okay, sure.
Wasn't good.
When did I ever say the defense was good in the first half?
I just kept
saying
Brock Purdy.
No, I did not.
Blaming Brock
no, I did not.
Half.
What I said exactly was that Brock Purdy with the defense.
They were down in the first half.
Yes, I didn't say it was just because of Brock Purdy. If you listen to me, I said Brock Purdy and the defense were the reasons why they were down in the first half. I never said
offense and defense. It has to be Brock Purdy.
Well, he was the worst player on the offense to me when they was down in the first half. That's why I said Brock Purdy and the defense. It was a collection of things. I think the Lions did an exceptional job baiting this defensive line into being ultra aggressive that opened up rushing lanes. The worst player on the defense is Chase Young. Chase Young has been a non-factor since he joined the 49ers. You want to bring up that Javon Hargrave thing? I don't even know where that comes from because he left your defense and your defense fell off a fucking cliff. So why don't you respect Javon Hargrave?
It wasn't because of him though.
He definitely would have helped you.
Yeah.
Because he's much better than Fletcher Cox at this point, and he's much better than Jordan Davis at this point.
What about Jalen Carter?
Jalen Carter, it's a toss-up. They are similar.
They have
but
three
I
D
think,
linemen.
But I think Javon Carter is a bit better.
Did he help him in the first half?
Javon Hargrave?
Yeah, the Niners.
Their whole defense got trashed in the first half. I'm not here defending the Niners defense whatsoever. But the fact that Brock Purdy, for most of the game against the Packers, played awful. In the first half against the Lions, he played awful. The comebacks, they were great. The last drive against the Packers, it was awesome. The second half against the Lions, he was awesome. But his total playoff stats right now are 61% completion percentage, 259 yards per game, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 87.7 passer rating. Is this moving anybody? This isn't moving me.
But you love to use context. Can we use context? He has two come from behind.
This is not moving me whatsoever. It's not just stat watch. It's also watching the games. When you watch him against the Packers outside of last drive, every time he threw the ball, you gasped for air because you thought it was going to be a terrible throw. He also was objectively awful. And in the first half against the Lions,
so was Love again.
In the last couple of drives, he was. I'm not going to say Jordan Love wasn't awful. Jordan Love was awful.
What would you prefer?
If he played better,
what would you prefer?
I would prefer the quarterback who played better when the game mattered. There's no doubt.
So but
Jordan Love from week 11, every game for the Packers was a playoff game, and he led the youngest team on offense in NFL history to the playoffs.
Purdy was also an MVP conversation for majority of the
Jordan Love
numbers too.
Okay, and look at the numbers that Jordan Love and Brock Purdy finished with, and tell me they're not similar. And tell me who has a much better supporting cast. It's Brock Purdy. It's pretty easily. We all know Jordan Love is a better player. He just had a bad stretch. It is what it is, but he's the better player. Ultimately, these two Brock Purdy playoff games have not moved me that much. And if he really wants to move me, I said this all along, it's the Super Bowl game.
Holy fuck.
What do you mean?
Do you understand how hard it is to win a Super Bowl? And you want the only way your opinion will change on the last pick in the NFL draft
What's
who's
my current
already
opinion? What's my current
accomplished
opinion?
everything that you can, aside from, of course, winning a Super Bowl. For the last pick, he's overachieved.
No, I'm done with this. I'm done with this.
Just want to point out that from week 11 now, they played the Chargers, the Lions, who you don't acknowledge at all.
They suck.
They played the Chiefs, great win. They played the Giants, the Bucks, the Panthers, the Vikings, the Bears. So if any,
the Vikings was a top 10 defense.
Those
The Bears
wins
was top
move
10
you,
defense.
I don't see why him doing it against the Lions and the Green Bay doesn't
Don't
move
tell me
you.
about no Vikings
also-
defense when you're taking away wins from the Lions and
that's
the
what I'm saying.
Packers
Like,
in
you're
the
being
playoffs.
unfair
Wait,
right
but
now.
it's also different because the difference is that Brock Purdy has 5 Pro Bowlers he's playing alongside with, and Jordan Love has 0. Jordan Love, for the majority of the season, had 0 running game because Aaron Jones was hurt all year. Yes. The Vikings were a top 10 defense. They blitzed them. Jordan Love was the best quarterback this year against the blitz and against the zone. And Jordan Love against the Vikings made miraculous throws off structure. Against the Bears, he was nearly perfect against one of the top defenses at that time. The Bears were one of the hottest defense. When it mattered most, he went to Dallas and he beat Dallas, and he had a perfect game.
But that's fine. Let's praise Jordan Love versus Dallas. But when it comes to playing the Niners, let's minimize the win for Brock Purdy, who beat the Packers.
Wait, what do you mean? It's not minimizing the win.
That's what you did.
Bro, for most of the game against the Packers, Purdy was not good. Let's stop acting like he was good for the game.
But in the
wasn't
biggest
good.
moment, again, I'm going off of history and how you've evaluated some moments.
When he's
you
down,
told
what
me
moment?
that you can have a shitty 1 through 3,
What
but if you
moments?
come through when I need you most in that fourth quarter,
That's you. That's not me.
What?
Who have I said that about?
Zach
I want to say this.
Wilson.
Zach,
Can we
are
get Zach
we
out
really
here,
using
please?
Zach Wilson as a measuring stick for these
should've.
conversations?
Against
What are
the
we doing?
Pittsburgh Steelers,
Bro,
you told me he had a good game.
He's a quarterback for the Jets, and I rooted for him because I want him to succeed. Obviously, I was delusional. That's my quarterback. Same way you were delusional about Russell Wilson.
I respect that for being honest.
Let's stop holding these guys to the Zach Wilson totem pole.
I want to say this, and this is what I said on the stream last week, and I said it's the conversation is going to be put to bed for a week when he comes back against Green Bay, but after that he's going to have to do it all again, and people are still going to be haters. I will say this:
I agree.
It's always been, what is Brock Purdy going to look like when they're down? What is Brock Purdy going to look like when they're behind?
It's just always
He's now
something new.
done it
You realize
twice.
that? Something new always?
He's done it twice. He's come back twice. Mind you, he's playing like shit at home, which is putting more pressure. They already have a super team, so that's even more pressure. He already knows he's going to get the most blame. He's coming back in the second half, back-to-back games. Now, all of a sudden, we have a new goalpost. He has to do it in the Super Bowl. He has to move.
In the
Now it's
Super
he's done it
Bowl.
twice. Shanahan has never done it.
No, Joel, hold on.
He's never done it. He's done it twice.
Can I defend him for just 1 second?
Oh, God,
just devil's advocate.
What is the standard for the Niners?
Because for the 49ers, if they don't win a Super Bowl, it is a failure of a season.
I agree.
But I do think there has to be some context here saying what Brock Purdy has done these last 2 games, he has put to bed those narratives. But if you want him to be in the franchise quarterback type of conversation,
this is 2 different conversations.
Yes, I agree.
This is
Shanahan's never
baffling
done
to
this,
me.
by the way.
This
Now,
is
done it twice.
Yeah, that's a fact. Shanahan's
Jimmy
also
G's never done
facing
this.
allegations.
No,
Done it
yeah, because
twice.
Jimmy G sucks. He's not a good quarterback.
I'm glad we
that's why
got
he
out of
went.
that
That's why.
conversation.
Listen, Brock Purdy has been better than Jimmy Garoppolo. That's never been a conversation for me.
about it.
Early on, it might have been a conversation for me.
Early on, you were throwing the EPA numbers around. And
Yes, because I was showing you that with Jimmy Garoppolo, with a ass quarterback, they were still efficient.
I test told you Purdy was better.
I know. I never said Purdy was not better. Purdy is a better player, but the moment will always come down to for the 49ers if they can win the Super Bowl or not. That's what it's going to come down to because they got this far with a bad quarterback before. I'm not saying Purdy is bad, but the reason they didn't get over the hump was because that quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, couldn't make the necessary plays to get them over the hump. Now it's time to see if Brock Purdy can.
And he's done it twice.
I have
want to
a
respond.
question. I also have one thing.
Ask
one
your
thing. I'll
question.
say this. So you just threw his stats out there, right? Right now.
Yes.
Now let me ask you: when you tweeted when he was down 24-7, saying forget about all them stats. So it's only we bring up stats when they're not that good, because in the regular season they were pretty damn great.
Brock Purdy in the regular season, for most of the regular season, was in picture-perfect situations. He was. When you go up against
What was
competition,
picture perfect about yesterday?
listen, he came back. He gets an enormous amount of credit for coming back. And that's why I don't understand what you were trying to get at as like, what else does the last overall pick in the draft have to do?
But you start putting more and more before I'm starting to accept him.
Wait.
He already has
Is Purdy leveling up?
I'm curious. I'm actually questioning what you're telling me or what you're asking of me.
Year 3?
Because
year 2.
Brother, he can still improve. We're here.
That's what I'm saying. Is Brock
Because
Purdy
for one,
leveling
We're
up?
indicting him already off year 2.
Is
Hold
Purdy
up.
leveling up to you?
Purdy's playing better. I don't know about leveling up. I think what he can do with his legs has always been there. That's what's been that's what separated him
From Jimmy
between
G.
Jimmy G,
Absolutely.
and that's what separates him between a system quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa.
Here we go.
That's what separates them. How long have I been saying Purdy's better than Tua? Have I not been saying it for a while?
What?
I've been saying it for a while that Brock Purdy's better than Tua.
Just because he can move.
Yes, because he can do almost everything Tua can do in the pocket, and then he can also play make outside the pocket.
Okay.
So,
Noted.
I'm just trying to understand this because, for one, him being the last pick in the draft is cool and all. It's a great underdog story, and that will always be part of the story, and it should be recognized. But once you have success in the league, and once you're playing in the NFL, and once you're starting, that draft pick selection is out the window.
Let me ask you, does it still weigh heavily on your mind that that's the case? Because sometimes it feels that way.
No, it doesn't. I don't even think about where he was selected in the draft. You know what?
Then why do you doubt him?
You know what? What do you mean? You know what I think about?
Why do you doubt him?
I think about all the people that push Brock Purdy all year long as an elite quarterback, as a top 5 elite quarterback. I think of Ryan Clark going on ESPN and saying Brock Purdy has done something or done more than Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and all these guys.
We don't talk about.
I mean,
that stuff.
obviously, I'm saying, but that is the narrative with Brock Purdy. 49ers fans, a beat reporter of them, David Lombardi from The Athletic, every single time Brock Purdy does something amazing, this is Joe Montana-esque, this is Steve Young-esque. Nice. There are people comparing Brock Purdy to the top echelon of quarterbacks in the NFL.
Can you talk to us?
We have him all like a top 15 quarterback, not top 5.
So that's where I have him. So I don't know what you're telling me when said, what else do I have to...
You want him to win a Super Bowl before you recognize that he's good?
I never said he's bad. When did I say he was bad? He's
good.
Playoffs.
You said he's been disappointed in the playoffs.
What?
Not to stand.
If he doesn't win the Super Bowl, what's going to be the conversation?
If he plays well, he plays well, it's a non-conversation.
You told me, and us, I should say, not just me. You sold us that he can't play from behind.
You have to see that.
That when his back's against the wall, he can't answer. He didn't just do it once. He did it
10
twice.
points and then 17
10
points.
and 7. So it was already hard the first time. He made it harder on himself the second time and still overcame with some help. There was some help along the way,
that's
but he
where I
still
feel like
played great.
That's where I feel like we get into the context conversation because, okay, looking at this objectively, if Brock Purdy had played phenomenally in the Packers and the Lions game, I'm not really saying much. I'm not. The reason why the Niners were about to get upset against Green Bay was in large part to Brock Purdy's play for a majority of the game. Agree. The last drive, Brock Purdy played well. He got the job done. Okay, he deserves recognition for that. We can't forget about the other 58 minutes of football that were played where he wasn't good. So when they almost lost to the Packers, and he was arguably the biggest reason why. Against the Lions, you can point to the defense being the biggest reason why they were in the deficit to begin with, but Purdy also, his play didn't give you much confidence going into the second half. In the second half, he played much better. He played much more free. He broke some sacks. He made plays on the move. He was awesome.
He was exceptional.
I'm not going to discount what he did in the second half. He was awesome. 49ers got a fumble on Jahmyr Gibbs that put them in perfect field position to get a touchdown. So the defense also made plays in the second half
he gets to help a C+ for yesterday.
To help
really?
that, I think it was a C+. You know, if you want to, I'll say B. I'll level with you and I'll say B. I'll say it right here. I'll level with you and I'll say B.
All right, cool with that.
But I look at the past 2 playoff games that the Niners have played.
He's showing me something right there.
I look at the past 2 games the Niners have played. They have almost lost because Purdy was not up to his regular season standard.
He just singled out Purdy there.
He did. Again.
Because he was one of them. There. Because versus the Packers, he was definitely the biggest reason why.
Okay.
Versus the Lions, I'll say he was the second, third. The defense was number 1, but them almost losing directly correlates to he wasn't giving them the level of play that they should expect.
The first offensive drive that they had, they got into field goal range. Moody biffed it.
Yeah.
They score again. The Lions score again. Purdy answers with a touchdown drive himself. Then the Lions score again. What the fuck do you want him to do?
We have to understand expectations when coming into these games because, of course, I would have loved the Lions to win this.
You've made that clear.
But I picked the 49ers because they're a better team. And I had no doubt in my mind that Brock Purdy was going to play bad in this game. I didn't even think the first half was going to happen. I thought Brock Purdy should have played great the entire game against this Lions defense. This Lions defense is not good. It's not good. So the fact that he had moments where he wasn't good, I'm like, you got to play better than that. He redeemed himself in the second half. But
Did
still,
he have moments of not being good?
Has Dak ever had a moment like this?
No.
Has Kirk Cousins ever had a moment like this?
Kirk Cousins beat the Saints on the road in the playoffs.
All right, can I ask a question? Where in this game will you just objectively say, bad Brock Purdy, bad?
In the first half, he was definitely underwhelming.
Bro, we're going
entire first half.
It's
are you gonna? Are we really
bro.
blaming the interception? Like this is the one part that I'm looking at and thinking, hey, this is where you fucked up.
No,
Brock.
he also was missing throws when the pocket was collapsing. When there was bigger bodies around him, when there was condensed pockets, he was missing throws.
Because on that first drive that they had, that they didn't pick up points because Moody missed, he had a play on second down where the pressure's in his face, and while he's getting hit, he stays strong and delivers a strike to Deebo Samuel.
You can't tell me that with a straight face that Brock Purdy, when he's been playing with condensed pockets, he's been awesome. When he
struggles.
When he's playing in condensed pockets, he struggles.
Condensed pockets, he
started
did.
to move.
He
What
did.
are we doing here?
So I'm curious, and I want to ask you guys a question because I have not said Brock Purdy's bad. I think Brock Purdy's good.
You said he was mid. You said he was mid.
Well, mid, good, whatever. It's a synonym, I think.
The tweet is no.
Is Tua good, Dels?
Huh?
Is Tua good?
He's fine.
Is he mid?
He's fine.
Saying Tua is mid would be ridiculous. Brock Purdy is mid. When the situation isn't perfect, his true colors show. All of them stats don't matter now. Stop hyping
This is the
this
problem. He
fraud.
don't stand on his
Stop
game.
hyping
He don't
this
stand
fraud.
on his game.
What are you
So,
doing?
What
What are you
A fraud
doing?
does not win that game.
This is terrible, Joel. This is bad.
Why is it
I feel like
terrible?
it's an intervention right now.
Why is it terrible? So let me ask y'all something. What do you think Purdy is?
He's good.
No. Stop. It's not what we think Purdy is. We are very aggravated at this table because you said in the season, I would like to see what Brock looks like coming back when they're down. Yes, when they're trailing. I don't think he would perform well. Fine. We all disagreed. Now he's done it twice. Now what you're doing is you're trying to discredit the talent. Oh, they're the seventh seed Packers, even though they were the hottest team in the
And the team that he picked.
You picked. No,
They
they
should've
lost.
won.
They're the
He lost
Detroit
me
Lions.
right off that. I was gone.
The rest of the shit we could debate about. That was
If you
tough.
want to say, I don't think he's going to show up against Spags defense, who have they just locked up Lamar. I don't give a fuck. That's fine. They just locked up Lamar. I really don't care. But you cannot sit here and keep moving the goalposts when he has shown you twice that backs against the wall situation is not perfect at the moment, but I can still get it done.
So I'm just curious because Brock Purdy, he has not only been down against these two teams that he just faced. Mm-hmm. He's been down more in the regular season against the Browns, against the Ravens, against the Vikings,
the
against
regular
the
season
Bengals.
Numbers trailing are ugly.
The regular season numbers
To be
for
fair,
Brock,
the Browns won, they missed the field goal.
Okay.
So
I
other two,
understand.
though, you got.
I understand, but in the regular season, Brock Purdy's numbers when trailing are not good.
But why do we give a fuck about
Okay,
that?
Because now you're right. That shit does not matter.
Let me finish that out the window.
Let me finish my point.
Yeah.
Let me finish my point. So you're telling me let me just make this clear. The last drive of the Packers game was not the only drive that the Niners were trailing in. Let me just make that very clear. The Niners were trailing for half of the game.
What's the point of that?
And Brock Purdy was not good for most of that chunk.